I think until I can get a better camera set up, I'm going to have to run some kind of video of somebody else talking while I start my feed. But basically, I've solved all the main question we keep asking ourselves: why are we here? And it is a form of what we've already known, and it's basically to propagate the species. And in the process of that, there have been, well, how do I say it, psychoses maybe, that have like cream rise to the top. And those psychoses or psychological maladies, or I honestly have to say, perversions even, uh, are the same that lead us to follow leaders and sheep to flock to their shepherd. And our leaders have started rewarding the behavior that we all despise and even criminalize in everyday life for the rest of us. They embody it. They have taken it in and created a system that has rewarded the behavior of those who follow them and perpetuate their uh, psychologies that we do not agree with as a society. They they hate. They propagate false information to keep the entirety of the entirety of the people through media, obviously, to hate and fight within one another while they are just swimming in infinite wealth and power, and they are going unchecked. My only hope is that we can all corral this until or before we completely destroy the planet and or the species or both, or another thing decides an asteroid comes and blows out a volcano, Yellowstone erupts, and we end up covered in ash and all dying or whatever, or nuclear winter, that kind of thing. But to create a society that can sustain the or withstand the threat of all those things, and one that lists those who are unable or are in or unable to are starving, just in poorer countries that don't have any resources to uh, support the populations that they're in or whatever. We in America have an endless supply of food that we throw pretty much close to half away because we either don't use it or don't want it or start it and don't finish it or whatever for one reason or another. And yeah, it's because it tastes good and because we can. But if we started there and basically started building robots to take care of the smallest shit that we hate doing, which is where my theories towards a more equal society begins, is there. This, what we have now is capable of creating machines that do the labor of those who are at the poorest level of society. And that's where we need to start. We build those machines, and then we hook those machines up to the stupid ass video games, like mowing the lawn and driving the train and all that, that all these people do to make their city grow inside of a video game, and we use that to control the machines that are doing the lowest common denominator of what we're doing. Because if somebody's willing to sit there and drive a bus in a video game as safe as possible through a city and get all its passengers on and off, why can't that person who is winning that game drive that bus? You know, I mean, I'm not saying we hook up everybody to that, but there are certain people who are better at games, and the way that video games are built, they give adrenaline bursts and they affect your brain ways to, to make you feel better when you gives you a ding or a coin or whatever, you level up or whatever, that kind of thing. And so why not make those control the machines that do the tedious work that humans hate doing? I mean, we still are going to have to work, all of us. We all have to, because we are a society and we want to better ourselves, and most of us want to better one another and gain more knowledge and, propagate the species and, live our lives and be happy and be merry, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But there are a few people that, like I said, at the top, that their personalities have taken over the entire system and are hoarding all kinds of wealth that we could be using to lift the bottom instead of just keep piling it on top of all of us, So, and I know it's not communism. It's more like a start to a better life for everyone, even those at the top who would benefit by living longer, having less threats to the societal changes and stuff like that. We'd be working on real threats like climate change, global warming, stuff that is not created by our own individual communities around the world. In order to do that, though, that's the hardest fucking part, because those at the top who hear what I have to say, they aren't gonna like it at all. And I know this because the people that I enjoy online, like the Young Turks, and Kyle Kalinske, there's a few others. Off the top of my head, I can't name them all, but I when I'm watching YouTube, I'll go down a list and just click on a bunch of things and just watch here and there. I love Jink. Jink's my friend, man. I feel like I know the dude. He's awesome. He's probably changed my outlook on life more than anybody. But anyway, as far as, I want to help them, obviously, because they're trying to do the best of work. I want to help the people, like the people in Yemen, who we are basically just ignoring and helping Saudi Arabians just annihilate. I want to help, the starving kids in Africa or South America, or hell, in the fucking streets of downtown Kansas City or whatever. That's where I'm from, by the way. And yeah, this is what this is going to be about. And I'm just going to talk. And I'm going to talk about what's real. Like, fucking World War III starting. How about that shit, man? Huh? Or at least possibly. Uh, I don't. I know Putin's a bad guy. He is. He's evil. But I also know that there's lots of things that could have been done differently from America and all the other leaders of the world that are doing evil shit, like America, um, that might have stopped even the riot or even the Putin's power beginning in the first place. And that I think what is happening now is he was there during the fall of the Cold War ending and the fall of the USSR. And he might just be thinking that I don't want that shit happening again. I need to do this, you know. I don't know what he's thinking. And yeah, he's a bad guy. I'm not apologizing for him, but I can't apologize or I can't defend how our country reacts all over the world. I mean, what shadow wars in Africa, like, helping Saudi Arabia, claiming to spread democracy all over the world when we, do regime changes in Venezuela for the fact that they share profits of the oil that they sold. And we fucked them over good. And we're still trying to, I think. I'm sure we are actually. Yeah, I guess there's more oil underneath Venezuela than any other place in the world, and it's the oil we use more than the dirty shit that we get from Canada or whatever. I don't know. It's all a big circle, and I'll talk more about that another time. But but the fact that we spend billions in tax dollars subsidizing the corporations or the oil companies uh, to pollute and poison our water supply, and uh, they sell us gas, and our government's the biggest buyer of gas in the world. So we're paying for it through our military. They get our military's money, they get our subsidy money, they get our gas money, they get our oil change money. I mean, they get money from every direction under the sun. And they're basically not trying to advance the technology to not destroy our planet. That's fucking ridiculous. It baffles me. It just baffles me. I mean, what would be more profitable than helping to continue? I mean, there's the other thing is I'm not a fan of capitalism. It was working. It has worked to better the entire world. But also, you know what else has helped to better the entire world? Socialism. Because socialism spawned fire departments, police departments, public school systems, and all these things that we do as communities. It's not a bad word. Communism, it's not a bad word. Community. The definitions of words that are in dictionaries are different than what people actually think they are. And that is another part of the propaganda that is spread that, like, the Republicans are attacking critical race theory. And there isn't a Republican in our, I don't even, hemisphere even, that even knows what the fuck it means. They have no fucking idea. Because you ask a Republican if they know the definition of critical race theory. They don't know what it is, but they can describe it when they see it. No. That's not how it works. They don't want their children growing up hating themselves because they're white. Well, that's just it, though. I have recently learned that, fuck, man, I grew up pretty much underneath my father. He was pretty racist. I don't know why or what black people did to him, or if they anything to, but in the system that we live in, they were always hated, and they were always feared, and they were always this, that, and that was our system. That's the way we grew up. And just fucking horrible bullshit. And feel so sorry for what my ancestors created that suppressed and criminalized black people, essentially. I don't know. I mean, and I I don't know what to tell the people who are still so misguided that they think that black people don't want the same thing that the poor white people want, and lower class white people want, and we all want the same thing. We all just want to live our lives and not, not be bothered, but not be, not be assholes to one another, man. Our criminal justice system is fucking awful. I'll get to that later too, but not right now. Okay, I've talked for a while. But yeah, I'm gonna start doing this from time to time. I may even start playing video games while I talk because I get bored when I do one thing at once. And this is just my opening and something I wanted to get off my chest. And I want to, like Joe Rogan said, I heard him say one time, he wants everybody to better themselves and better himself. And I believe that. I believe in that. We should all be bettering ourselves. I should be bettering myself. I'm a big, fat, small dick, ugly motherfucker that happens to have a mind for hopefully logic and common sense, and maybe helping a few people here and there change their minds about how we need to not hate each other and embrace each other instead, because it's a hell of a lot better. And I kind of want to see what happens, This world needs change big time. We've got income inequality that's greater than when people were building pyramids with slaves, and we've got wars that happen for resources that we're using to build what's the word I'm looking for? What's it called? Merchandise, essentially. Just everything that is built to. It's called planned obsolescence. It's designed to fail so that you have to go out and buy a new one. It's designed that way. It's literally designed that way, so that they can continue to profit the next year and the next year and the next year and the next year. You can go out and you buy a big screen TV, and hell, you remember those? My parents, up until about 10 or 15 years ago, had one of the box TVs that was in a fucking box. That CRT shit. Or not CRT. Is it CRT? It might be CRT, but that's critical race theory, but there's also CRT TVs, I think, is the old tube models that were weird, or big and bulky and heavy and ugly and shit like that. Well, those weren't. Those things lasted 35, 40 years. Well, how you think your flat screen's gonna last you 35 years? You think your phone's gonna last 35? Your car, your fucking computer? Nah, it's called planned obsolescence for a reason. It's so that you have to go out and get a new one. And that's one thing that needs to be fixed as well. But basically, what we need to start doing is lifting the bottom so that as many people can rise to the top, or rise to the level where they are discovered, educated, because they may have knowledge in their brains. That's how we let people rise to the top here. Is genius kids show up and fucking they earn scholarships and they learn and I got no attention span, so I can't. I was not good in school. Either that or the educational system that we have or had at the time did not realize my attention deficit and didn't know how to teach me to do things. I learned to read at a very young age. I learned to math at a very young age. I felt I was bored all the time in classroom. I liked to play sports when I was younger, and I liked, uh, football, soccer, kickball, fucking baseball. I played all of them. But and I did enjoy reading until the TV, until my little black and white TV thing went off the air. But after that happened, I'd play my video game, Atari or whatever, or I'd read a book. You know, I read a book. Oh my god, I haven't read a book in years. I've been too busy looking at the polarization of America and the fall of an empire that's drowning in bureaucracy and just to me it's utter nonsense. We got Republicans creating basically I think they actually created the single or the was it the social justice with SJW? They created the SJW. I mean, yeah, there are a few of them out there that are extremists, but hey, maybe they fell into that category after the Republicans created it. But the SJW is a small part of the left wing part of the political structure. They don't, I mean, they're not gonna fucking, they're not gonna, if they're truly left wing, they don't want fucking, to just fucking do anything to anybody. They're too scared. It seems like, anyway. Most people are just too scared. They talk online, but now they're afraid to say everything. You want to say this because somebody will attack you from this side. And hell, right now, it looks like anybody who tells the truth gets attacked from both sides, and mainly from the establishment. The mainstream medias and because there ain't fucking millions of dollars being pumped into TYT or then, as far as I know, they're telling pretty much the truth. I know maybe they get a story wrong, but they'll admit it when they do. And if I get something wrong, I'll admit it. But and I'm a fucking dumbass. Like I said, I'm just a guy with a short attention span and some pretty good common sense and logic in him, I guess. At least from what I've discovered. I mean, there's some funniest thing is there are like places I've worked at and stuff like that I made things easier and or saved the company a lot of money, but no, they want to do it a certain other way because bureaucracy, redundancy, uh, and infusion of beliefs over facts and science in areas that they don't belong. And I'm sorry to say this, but religion doesn't belong anymore because science is something that can happen here, be recreated in other places, and it's the same thing, and it's fact. That's science. Religion, how many are there? 200 and some odd religions throughout the world that think they're right and they're basically, there may be an all-power omnipotent being. I don't know that. But nobody else does either. Nobody can prove it. At least he hasn't come down and said to the world, shut the fuck up and stop fucking killing each other, you dumbasses. Whatever. That's what I would say if I was the omnipotent being. But I think, like I said, I think I might have come across something that might be close to what the omnipotent being would have wanted. And that's a society that it doesn't lie to itself. It doesn't propagate itself. It doesn't sell itself for $1 to make $1 or to step on the backs of people who are just born in a different country under a different rule and into a society like China building iPhones. They had to fucking put nets outside the building to keep people from jumping out the window and killing themselves. That's pretty close to what I would claim is our penal system. I mean, yeah, you can talk to people, or you can fight people, or people rape you, or kill you, or beat the shit out of you for no reason, or take your fucking pillow or whatever the fuck, But pretty much that's what our criminal system is a bunch of people who, well, 90, probably 80% of them are in there for selling illegal substances or doing illegal substances or whatever. And they aren't hurting anybody. They didn't hurt anybody. All they did was